Somalia is not just a failed state. It is a place where the very idea of a state has disappeared. You enter the country and immediately find yourself in a zone without rules, where there are no marked roads, no civil servants, no unified police force, and not even a flag recognized by everyone. One city is under the green banner of Islamists, another under the emblem of a clan, a third belongs to no one. And between them stretch dust, heat, armed teenagers, and survival on a tribal level. The world has long called Somalia the black hole of Africa, but the truth is that it is the future of many weak states. It simply happened here earlier than elsewhere.
You remember the Somali pirates, right? They hijacked about 200 passing ships and got hundreds of millions of dollars in ransom for them. Well, the Somalis didn't do this because life was good for them. Somalia, as a country, has huge problems. Oh, and who are you?
Until 1991, Somalia was ruled by dictator Siad Barre, kept the country in an iron grip with the army, propaganda, and fear. But when he fell, everything collapsed instantly. State institutions disappeared in a matter of days, ministries were looted, the military deserted, the judicial system dissolved and was never restored. In the following 10 years, more than 15 attempts were made to form a government and everyone failed. Whoever came to power relied on one clan and immediately became an enemy to the rest. The result was endless shootings, punitive raids, and waves of refugees. The center ceased to exist, leaving only fragments of the former state surviving in self-defense mode. Officially, there is a government, a capital, and a parliament, but in reality, it is just scenery. The government controls only a few districts of Mogadishu, while the rest of the country is divided among dozens of forces. In the north, Somaliland has lived like an independent state since 1991. In the south, Al-Shabaab, a jihadist group, runs territories like a real caliphate, and between them lie hundreds of clans, each with its own army, jurisdiction, and taxes. The idea of a state in Somalia is something out of thin air. It does not protect, regulate, or manage. It simply does not exist. Somalia is a place where on every highway you may be stopped by a man with a gun and a baseball cap marked Control. He has no ID and represents no official authority, but if you do not pay, you will not pass. Across the country, thousands of such illegal checkpoints are scattered, each belonging to a clan, militia, gang, or just locals. Sometimes they give you a handwritten receipt, sometimes they only record your number, and sometimes nothing at all. They take your money and say go. At every stage, the road costs money, sometimes food, sometimes even a woman. Some routes have established rates like a bus line, but if the weather changes, a new commander arrives, or the dollar exchange rate shifts, the price rises instantly. On certain roads between Baidoa and Bardera, drivers pay up to $80 just for passage. Some checkpoints run on schedules and issue paper passes. Occasionally, you pass for free if you transport a relative of a local commander. But more often, every kilometer of road is a bargain with dangerous men. In 2008, Somali pirates were on the front pages of world media with hijacked tankers, multi-million-dollar ransoms, and hostages held for months. Since then, the world seems to have forgotten them, but they never disappeared. They simply became quieter. Today, pirates work differently. They extort money through front agencies, use GPS, launch attacks with drones, and strike with precision. Ships still vanish off the Somali coast. Villages get their share because piracy is an economy. It is investment in boats, weapons, and communications. Sometimes an entire council of elders stands behind a ransom deal, deciding whom to take, for how much to sell, and where the money should go. In Somalia, pirates are not criminals, but entrepreneurs and sometimes heroes. They employ accountants, negotiators, and lawyers, invest profits into cafes, gas stations, and online businesses. Some even become local deputies. In towns like Ale, piracy is a profession. Nobody asks where your money came from, only with whom you share it. Since the early 1990s, international organizations have poured billions of dollars into Somalia in the form of food, water, medicine, tents, and building materials. But without a state and logistics, all of it turns into goods for the black market. Aid trucks are seized before unloading. Gangs resell relief flour like gold. UN warehouses are staffed by people bribed by clans. Even hospitals built with donor money may belong to armed groups. A Human Rights Watch report noted that most aid never reaches the people and disappears between the airport and the village. According to UNICEF, in some regions of Somalia, 1 in 4 children is either a participant in armed conflict or the wife of a fighter. Schools are rare. In poor areas, a child has only 2 prospects: go to fight or marry at 13. Boys are trained from the age of 10. Girls undergo mutilating operations and then become part of clan exchange systems. Children here are treated as resources, made into fighters, agents, scouts, sometimes cannon fodder, sometimes bargaining chips. For some families, giving a child to a unit guarantees food or safety or revenge. Often recruitment happens through food, loyalty in exchange for a bowl of rice. Sometimes boys are simply kidnapped, trained for months in shooting, surveillance, and interrogation. Girls become servants, wives, or sometimes spies. Many do not live past 15, and nobody searches for them. On paper, Mogadishu is the center of power, with a parliament, ministries, and a presidential palace. But everything is protected by barbed wire, concrete blocks, and African peacekeepers. The real capital is only a few central blocks. Beyond that lie clans, armed groups, and mafia. Even diplomatic missions live in armored compounds with helipads because they know the city does not belong to a state. Every district is someone's fiefdom. Sometimes fighting erupts in a schoolyard between 2 groups. Sometimes police vanish because they failed to make a deal. Mogadishu is a shop window behind which lies a scorched field. Somalia is one of the few countries in the world without a central bank, a single currency, or a tax authority. It has no national corporations. Oil, fish, and coal are extracted informally through clans and gangs. Salaries are not paid. Pensions do not exist. What functions does so only thanks to remittances from the Somali diaspora. According to the World Bank, up to 40% of the country's GDP comes from these transfers. Millions survive only through relatives in the United States, Britain, and Canada. Sometimes a village has no school and no shop, but an office for Western Union. That is the economy without a budget, without taxation, and without prospects. Al-Shabaab is not just a terrorist group, but a true shadow state. It runs its own Sharia courts, religious schools, and tax system, collecting tithes from farmers, drivers, and businesses. And at the same time, it bombs police stations, stages ambushes, and kills foreign diplomats. In 2017, they detonated a truck in central Mogadishu, killing more than 500 people in the deadliest terrorist attack in Africa's history. Yet even after this, they retained supporters, because sometimes they are the only ones who can guarantee some form of justice. In a land where everyone steals, even a bandit who punishes other bandits can look like a hero. Under their control, entire regions follow their courts, schools, and police. You must attend mosque, wear Islamic clothing, and avoid music. Violators are whipped. But in some villages, this is the only form of order. and many prefer fear to the chaos of clan war. Somalia is one of the countries hardest hit by climate change. Rains have disappeared, rivers dried up, and droughts became normal. Farmers lose crops, herders lose livestock, villages empty, and people die of thirst in 40-degree heat. The last major drought in 2022 left more than 6 million people without water. UN estimates say 1 in 5 rural children suffers from acute malnutrition. Yet, even if you find water, there is no guarantee you'll be allowed to drink. Wells are guarded with guns. Whoever holds power controls water. Whoever has no clan dies. This is not poetic exaggeration, but a rule of survival. In some regions, armed groups build dams and sell water at the price of fuel. People walk dozens of kilometers to dry riverbeds, and local wars erupt over puddles, pipes, or plastic sheets of rainwater. Sometimes entire herds perish and a tribe vanishes from the map forever. The North split away long ago. Somaliland is an attempt to start from scratch. It has an army, police, its own currency, and elections. They declare, "We are not Somalia, we are another state." And it seems to work. In the capital Hargeisa, streets are clean, lit, and children attend schools. But the nuance is that no country in the world recognizes Somaliland. Legally, it is still part of Somalia. Politically, it is isolated. International banks do not operate, investments do not come, and its passports are not accepted. It is a state in a vacuum, and even here, cracks are forming as old clans remain strong, which means stability is only a temporary illusion. Somalia is not just a collapsing country, it is a test, a preview of what happens if the collapse of a system is ignored, where there is no law, no central authority, and no common future, where education is a risk and healthcare a matter of chance, where children are born who have never seen a teacher or a doctor, where the economy is piracy, violence, and remittances, where a flag means nothing and nationality is clan. If Somalia is not fixed, it will become an instruction, not on how to rebuild, but on how to die.